Hi, everybody. My name is Bob, and I'm an addict. Hasn't this been a great convention? Let's give it up. Welcome to San Antone, home of the Alamo and 500 ways to cook rice and beans. Are there any newcomers here? Welcome. If there are newcomers in the group tonight, I always like to give this disclaimer. You know how like they have on the pack of cigarettes it says, this can be hazardous to your health? Well, relationships and early recovery can be hazardous to your health. Now, thank God you do not get clean in Narcotics Anonymous from the advice that we give each other, but rather from the love we give each other. And I'm going to tell you just quickly for the newcomer how this works, because this is all part of the disclaimer. When you get here, we're going to tell you, the first thing we're going to tell you after glad we're welcome to see you, that we're going to get to the point where we say, don't get into a relationship for the first year. The fact that 95% of us in this audience never were able to do that does not matter. It makes us feel good passing that little bit of advice on. But before you embark on finding that hot, loving, deep, meaningful in a relationship, you might want to get a meeting list. On the back of most meeting lists, there's a place for phone numbers. If you go to a home group that's codependent, you won't even have to ask for the names and numbers. They'll give them to you. You won't need this immediately, but fold it up, put it in your purse, put it in your wallet, and keep it. Because as you go to meetings, one day you'll walk in and you'll look across the room and there she is. There he is. She smiles at you and you immediately know she wants you. You smile back, and it's like, oh my God. Oh. Then we say those first very important words. Would you just like to have a cup of coffee with me? And in a very brief time, you were in the throes of one of those deep, hot, loving, meaningful relationships. And when you're in that kind of relationship, you do not need to call your sponsor Sponsors never really understand how good those relationships are. Here comes the important part. When that hot, deep, loving, meaningful, oh my God, I found her relationship ends after about 2 weeks, and your gut shot, and you're wanting to hide in the bushes to see who she's with now, you're like stalking behaviors start to evidence themselves. I'm glad I wasn't the only one that did that. I can tell in the crowd some people relating to this stuff. Remember that piece of paper in your pocket. Because about 2 o'clock in the morning, when you're sitting there crying, trying to watch the TV that's rolling, and you in such pain, do what we did. Not what we tell you to do. Here's what we did. we got that list out, and we started to call people. And we told them shit we wouldn't tell anybody else. Oh, my God, you can't believe how much I heard. Oh. See, we make a lot of mistakes having this experience here. But we love each other through the mistakes here. You call people you don't know, and they'll talk to you. They'll share with you. They'll share with you at a level of intimacy that you cannot believe that they're sharing with you or that you're sharing with them. But we can get through the pain that way. I want to qualify myself. I have had some relationships. Well, one of the three stupidest things I did is I married somebody in this fellowship, and it lasted a hot 4 weeks. I did that against the advice of my sponsor and my peers and everybody who knew me. But see, sometimes we are driven. But I got a sponsor, and I got to tell you, you get the right sponsor, you've got one of the best relationships you will ever have. I have been blessed with 3 sponsors in my life. And 2 of them have passed away. And I think the third one is very courageous to sponsor me, considering what happened to the first 2. My first sponsor made it possible for me to have a deep, meaningful, loving relationship of 28 years with this woman sitting in the first aisle in the audience. Susie, stand up, darling. Come on, stand up. You see, she takes direction. Anybody here get lucky last night? You don't know what lucky is, or you wouldn't be here. But tonight you can get lucky. That's hope. Our message is a message of hope. We could have never found either a man or woman who comes in these doors that's too ugly, too old, too crazy, that we will not find some meaningful relationship with, or in a whole group setting. Depends on how liberal you really are. I want to give you just a couple of concepts that I believe that as I go through my share will perhaps help you make some sense of stuff. I am not a human being seeking a spiritual experience. I'm a spirit having a human experience. Understand? I'm a human being. I'm having a human experience, but I am a spirit. This experience starts with birth, and it ends with death. The greatest human experience that I can have is to love someone. To love you, and to be able to be loved by you. That's not a spiritual experience. That's a very human experience. Love requires action. It requires touch. Love isn't just some word that we say. It's getting somebody a cup of coffee. It's the little things, the little rituals that we do. It's getting up in the morning before your wife gets up, going out and putting the coffee on, doing your prayer and meditation, and going and giving her a kiss, telling her how much you love her, telling her what a great day it is, how grateful you are she's in your life, and either bringing the coffee to her or offering to pour her first cup. Little rituals like that are signs of love in a very human way. I love passion. I would not marry a woman that I did not have passion for, who did not set my ass on fire. I want that part of my human experience. This woman and I have been together 28 years. She still sets my ass on fire. But love, the price of love is this, that one of us will bury the other. Understand? If we're friends, either I'll go to your funeral or you'll go to mine. And the only way we can enter into meaningful relationships with the threat of that kind of loss is to be in touch with our spiritual self and the concept of love in action. The ability to be there for each other. We don't recover by all the advice we give. I already said that, but it bears repeating. We recover by being there for each other. We don't have to be powerful. Our first step teaches us that. We don't have to fix everything, make everything well. When you're sitting with somebody who's passing, who's dying, and there's not a thing you can do about it except show up. See, that bringing that spirit to the place of another spirit. See, I think that we're in the sandbox here. I think life is a sandbox. And we're like little spirits that are like dropped in the sandbox. I think this is how we play. I think this is what the experience is in coming together. I think that, I've been blessed with being able to get a lot of toys in my recovery, but none of them compare to the relationships I have. Man, when I was sitting here waiting to share, people were coming up, hugging me, talking to me, sharing with me, just loving me, bringing their spirit to me so that when I come up here to share, that I can bring my spirit to you. See, intimacy is one half of a two-sided coin. Intimacy is the ability to expose oneself to somebody else, the ability to stand up here and share about my life, the ability to have you share with me not only the good things, but the questions. Will I ever find anybody to love me? Can I stay clean? Will I ever be able to be a productive member of society? Man, we answer those questions for each other here. We answer that in a very, very intimate way. But the other side of that coin of intimacy, which makes it so extremely difficult in our relationships, is shame. Is shame. To be exposed before we're ready to be exposed. To have somebody say something that we've shared in confidence to the rest of the group or to other people, and it shatters our trust because it shames us. It hurts our spirit to be shamed. A functional and loving relationship is one that nurtures, affirms, lifts up, teaches, laughs with, where the stronger member of the relationship supports the weaker members of the relationship. That's why we say to the newcomer when you come here, man, we love you. We are glad you are here. We have a strength here that you can be a part of that will help you change your life, that will help you reach dreams that you have not even considered yet. A shaming relationship is one of these where you're pointing your finger and you're shaming and you're blaming and you're screaming at and you're belittling and you're putting somebody down. Most of us come out of environments where shame and blame and abuse, physical, mental, sexual, and emotional abuse has become a way of life. When you hit these rooms and we get together, we're able to move beyond shame into being intimate with each other. To be able to reconnect with that spirit that was dropped in this sandbox, who's been hiding inside for so long, lonely and isolated and alone. When I think of intimacy with my wife or the guys I sponsor, we had breakfast this morning and Denny and I were just cutting up, just laughing, playing. See, what I want in my spiritual awakening is for my spirit to be able to reach out and touch your spirit and to say, "Psst, come on out and play. Come on." See, I'm touching it. You're feeling it. Your little spirit inside's already jumping. See, we're starting to find that basis of intimacy. Come out and play. My wife and I, we've been together 28 years. And buying flowers is a really neat and romantic kind of thing. But buying a cemetery plot together, that shows commitment. We have decided what we're having on our stone. And this is the truth. We're having our stone inscribed with the words, "We had us some fun." All right? We had us some fun. Death can't scare us here if we have that sense of spirit. And here's a couple of ways that I know I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. When I look out this way, I don't have an age. I'm not 61 years old. Very handsome 61, by the way. Oh, you've already gathered that, though. When I'm looking out this way, I'm young and crazy. I sponsor a bunch of young guys, and when we go to these conventions, these are handsome young guys. They're in their early 20s. And all the young ladies come flocking around them like bees on honey. I get that little temptation gene. I start talking shit, looking out this way, right? And one of them will say, "You remind me of my daddy." I have tried to tell them that I'm only 23 years old, and this is what meth will do to you. I still think sick, but I just don't act on it anymore. The other way that I know is that when my body gets tired at the end of the day, and the older you get, the shorter the days get. I had a friend, Layla, who told me, said, "Bob, life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the quicker it comes off the roll." Damned if she wasn't right. But here's the other way that I know that I'm eternal. When my body shuts down, whether it's in a chair or in a couch or when I'm asleep in that bed, my spirit soars. My spirit dreams. I dream dreams. Before I got here, I had my spirit so sedated that I couldn't even dream. Understand? We're not meant to have our spirits repressed and fit into boxes and put numbers on and given Social Security cards. Man, we are spiritual beings. We're meant to taste, to touch, to feel. And our 11th step in our prayer and meditation, we seek a conscious contact with God. Consciousness is tasting, smelling, touching, feeling. Man, I don't want to spend my whole time saying, "Hail Mary, full of grace, Lord is with thee." If that's your thing, that's your thing. But my thing is having this wonderful human experience. And see, what you've taught me to do is to have that experience fearlessly. Without fear. See, I love that 4th step. And it's placed down in those steps because you can't get fearless until you have some understanding of being loved by us and by God. See, I believe we are the manifestation of God's love. The way we touch each other, the way we welcome newcomers, the way we take people into our homes, the people God brings in and out of our lives to teach us, to enrich us, to let us live fearlessly. We're not afraid of dying. We're not afraid of getting sick. We're not afraid of intimate relationships that may end. We're fearless. We're spiritual beings. Fearless. When we get confused with that in our human experience, we have each other to remind each other that, hey, man, you can get through this. This is going to pass. Don't shove that spirit down. Don't try to repress it. Don't go into depression. Don't go pill yourself up, shoot yourself up, drink yourself up, drug yourself to death. Feel the pain. It's part of the human experience. We'll feel it with you. We'll take a little piece of it. We'll give you a little something back. We will get through it. And man, you can bust out and live again. See, when a relationship ends, some people are afraid to ever love again. Their spirit gets so hurt that they're afraid to love again. Truly love. I mean, we start to pretend. You know what I mean? We start to pretend. We know how we should act, kind of. You know? If we throw a lot of passion in, we don't have to pretend quite as much. But being intimate is taking away all of that stuff and getting to that spirit that says, come out and play. Man, just come out and play. Come out and feel this experience. This is wonderful. Man, we're sitting here today. Man, we've been eating beans and rice and drinking bottled water. You know, we bitch about gas being $3 a gallon, but we spend $2 for a bottle of this shit. But you know something? There's an addict waking up right now, sick and alone, and unable to save a wake-up shot. There's a prisoner waking up in a cell, knowing nobody's coming to visit, and there isn't any money on the book. Right now there's a baby being born to a crack mother who will be born, whose first breath will be in the pain of addiction because she couldn't put the pipe down long enough to let that baby be born free of the disease of addiction. Right now there's an addict putting a gun to his head in a room or in a car or somewhere where he's alone and blowing his brains out because he can't take the pain of this disease 1 minute more. He wants to escape this human experience, and here we are with each other, just loving up, just hugging up. We are truly blessed here. We are truly blessed here. I am going to suggest that before you really embark on a lifelong, meaningful relationship, you try to do a couple of things, like get a sponsor, go to meetings, work the steps, hit your knees in the morning, ask God to give you a day clean, learn to hit your knees at night and thank Him, and somewhere in between, just do something nice for somebody. Now, they used to say, when I came in, that if you buy a plant and the plant is alive after a year, you can buy a puppy. And after 2 years, if both the puppy and the plant are alive, you might be ready for a relationship. See, I don't believe that you can embark fearlessly on a meaningful personal relationship with a life partner. I said life partner, but my wife and I just had this discussion the other day. She said, do you believe that when we die we'll go someplace where we'll be together forever? And I believe that. Sometimes my mouth takes on a life of its own. And I said to her, and the only reason I said it is because I got a bunch of sponsees who are my age, who are marrying women 28 years old, 30 years old, and making babies. I admire their courage, if not their judgment. So I said to my wife, look, if you would pass before I did, after the funeral, I'm going to go to the doctor and get my snipped. Because I wouldn't want to have one of those weak moments and make another baby. She said to me, do you really believe that we're going to be together in heaven and all eternity? I said, yeah. She said, then you do that shit. What kind of reception do you think you're going to get when you get there? You cannot truly feel love, feel intimacy, and have relationships of value if you're afraid. If you are not safe, you cannot get to that level of intimacy that you seek. I'm not only talking about physically safe. I'm not talking about putting your hands on somebody. If you have that problem, seek some help. I'm talking about mental safety, where you're free to state your opinions on things, even if it disagrees with my opinion of things. Where you're free to say something and somebody doesn't say, "Oh, wasn't that a stupid question? Who the hell thought that shit up?" You ever hear that kind of shit? "Oh, that was really bright." Where we feel intellectually unsafe, where we can't talk to our significant other about any subject because we don't particularly want to hear what they might have to say, especially if it goes against what we want, especially if we're one of those obsessive compulsive modes. Emotionally safe. And I don't want to be in a relationship where I can't express feelings, where I can't cry because I'm a man, where I can't get angry because she's going to be afraid I'll slap the shit out of her if I'm angry. And she's got to walk around on tiptoe. "Oh, God, don't make him angry today." Oh, I lived in a house like that. Oh, it's like having that 500-pound gorilla in the living room. Please, Jesus, don't anybody wake him up. We got to be free. We got to be free in our relationships. We got to be safe in our relationships. And some of us, it's nice that we walk into rooms, and it'd be nice if World Services put out a recovery magic wand instead of a basic text where you just walk in and they go, "Ah!" Where our spirit doesn't have to kind of look out first to see if you're safe to be with, because they've been abused before. Or they don't have to try to figure out a way to say something, because any time that they opened their mouth before, they were shamed or put down or slapped or beaten or abused. When we come from those kind of environments, I'm telling you what, it took me a long time. I come from a long line of addicts. My grandfather was an addict. My father was an addict. I'm an addict. 3 of my 4 children are addicts. I got to tell you the real ass kicker, though. I got 12 grandbabies. 3 of my children are in recovery. None of my grandbabies live with anybody in an active addiction. We break that cycle, baby. We break the cycle. We break the cycle. Love is patient and kind and understanding, because in order for our spirits to come out and play and to recover from some of the shit that we've been through, some of the things that we have done, we need to be in an environment like that. That just doesn't happen with the magic wand. That takes time. Man, my sponsor spent hours talking to me. Hours. If it wasn't for my sponsor, my wife and I would not be together today, because I come out of those kind of environments and I was quick to anger. Really quick. Because if you've been in an institution, you don't wait to figure out whether that person's going to do some shit to you. You do what you got to do and do it quick. And you come in here and all of a sudden We're saying, man, you can't get that angry that quick. No, we have to be patient with each other until we learn to change that. See, we're capable of change here. We're capable of growing here. We're capable of having spiritual awakenings here that allow us to love, to be patient, to be kind, to be understanding with each other, to reach out, to play with each other, to take people to conventions and meetings and, man. But when we get in these personal relationships, sometimes we don't have that yet without having worked these steps. We don't have the patience and tolerance to live with each other and help each other through that stuff. But we just react and overreact. And I had to have a sponsor who used to say to me, I don't want you to say one bad thing about your wife in my presence. What? And we always talk about people when they're not there. Oh, don't act like I'm the only guy that ever did that. He sponsored me for 14 and a half years and loved my wife dearly, but he would never let me talk bad about her. Never let me talk bad about her. I sponsor men. I don't let them talk bad about the women that they're married to. I try to help them. I try to help them the way he helped me to learn to be kind and patient and tolerant. By being kind and patient and tolerant. He said, when you get that big belly full of anger, jump in your car, come the hell up here, tell it to me, and we'll deal with it. Oh, man, I used to do that all the time. Then he taught me this concept. This is a great concept. It's called prayer. Oh, that is a word. I am married to a woman who, when I would start screaming and hollering at her, she would run. I'd have to chase her ass the whole way through the house. She would be like trying to get doors shut. And I'd be like trying to put my foot in doors, hold doors open, screaming, ranting. I wonder if I told him that. He said, let's pray for her. Let's pray for her. I said, what? So what I want you to do is instead of the next time you get like that little rage thing and you want to be all your nutso shit and start screaming at her, I want you to pray. And I don't want you to do it. And see what happens. You cannot believe the change in my wife. She stopped running around all through the house, slamming doors and shit. I mean, this stuff works. This stuff works. I'm going to assume that in your steps, that in the first step you've learned to let go. You've learned to let go of your past and her past. You hear me? Your past and her past. We start relationships, intimate relationships, with a new slate. We don't care here whether you come, this is your first time, 5th time, 100th time in these rooms. We say welcome. Understand? That's what we as a fellowship do. We say welcome. We don't care if you relapsed 100 times. You come back the 100th time, we are glad to see you. We are going to put our arms around you. We are going to love you. We're going to welcome you. We're going to say, wow, welcome back. Man, why would we do any less? Why would we try to throw up somebody's past? Play the dozens with their family? First step, we let go. Second step, we come to believe. You have to learn to believe the things that make relationships possible, which means I got to surrender what's going on in my head. I used to say to my sponsor, he'd give me a direction. I'd say, man, I don't see it that way. And he'd say, yeah, I know. look what's happening to you. There's a certain logic in that I hated. My sponsor was in a loving relationship, and he loved this woman. He loved his wife as much as I love my wife now. And that's what I wanted. And that's what he gave me. You hear what I'm saying? He loved his wife. He bought her flowers. He made her coffee. He knew how to touch her appropriately. He knew how to just love the hell out of her. She gets sick. See, we wonder why we have monogamous relationships, why it pays to just stay with one person and build history and do that. Because we, in our human experience, start to fade out, man. Body starts breaking down. And his wife got sick, and she was in the hospital for 14 weeks. 14 weeks. He would get up, and he would drive to that hospital at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they would have to kick him out 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. She couldn't talk, so he'd write notes, or she'd write a little note. He'd feed her ice chips. I'll bet you there wasn't a whole lot of verbal communication here. Not a lot. But he was there for her. He'd been there for me so many times I felt like I needed to be there for him. And I'd go over and I'd try to sit with him a little bit. I would feel like I had a tack under my ass. Oh, God Almighty, to sit there and look at her and him and not a lot of conversation. And man, I wondered how can he do this? Because he loved her. I didn't understand that at the time, what that was. I didn't understand what that kind of bond was all about. I didn't understand that, man, they were soulmates. Their spirits had been tied together, man. They were in a knot. I didn't understand any of that until this past year. It's been a really rough year. Susie's been through colon cancer surgery, hysterectomy, open heart surgery, diaphragm not right. On the way home, I told her jokingly from the last hospital visit, I said, look, baby, I couldn't get rid of you if I wanted to. I put too many new parts on you. And we laughed, We laughed because when you're in those kind of really tense situations, you try to make a little humor or something. I said, the only thing I haven't fixed on you are your feet. We get home. She gets her jammies on and shit. We're sitting there. We're going to watch a little TV. And she said, look at my foot. She said, I think it's swollen. I called the doctor. She said, it might be a blood clot. Bring her back in. But she had this open heart surgery. And I was sitting there waiting. I had turned her over to the care of God in the hands of a skilled surgeon. I got that skilled surgeon because of some guys in Philadelphia who were connected with the hospital and with this surgeon. His surgery schedule is like a year and a half out. She went to see him one day, and the next day she had all her tests done. This was like on a Friday, and on Monday he did the surgery. Man, we mysterious shit happens in here. I mean, we can't understand all of it, but like it shakes out and it works. And all these guys from Philly, when she was at this hospital, would come, one of them, two of them, every day, bring me a sandwich, talk to me, and I would sit with her from morning till night. And I understood there was no pain in there. There was no uncomfortableness in there. There was a gratitude that she was still here, that I had her in this human experience to love in a physical way one more day. I understood you. We don't always get this stuff like right away, man. This was years ago that he told me that. Years ago that he told me that. But there's a couple parts there. I didn't have to do this by myself. I had sponsees. The sponsorship stuff doesn't only work up. It works down, man. These guys sucked me up, loved me, brought me food, just hung out, made me feel loved when I was feeling really scared and vulnerable and powerless. Man, they were there for me. Boom. That's what we do with each other here. I want to talk a couple of minutes about some traditions. I want to talk some. See, we do steps, and we write on steps all day long. And we talk about working steps and having spiritual awakenings and the traditions. The spiritual principles in the traditions are what make relationships possible. Right? This awakens us to the steps, awaken us to ourself. Oh, hey man. Happy, joyous, and free. Now what am I going to do? Who can I share this with? That's what these principles in the traditions are all about. Let me give you just a couple of quick examples of them because I'm going to be short on time here. But the first one is that we value relationships here. Our first tradition doesn't say our being right comes first. It says our common welfare comes first. It puts a value on us. That's what we're so attractive. That's what we found so attractive when we got here. We were valued. People wanted us here. I don't know about you, but when I got here, there wasn't a whole lot of folks wanted Bob. Our relationship is more important than us being right here. When you're in a relationship with someone on a meaningful basis, it's more important to be together than to be right. I'll show you how this works. My wife used to smoke, and I had quit smoking. And one day I woke up and I went down in the living room and I smelled this stale smoke. I looked around and I saw the ashtrays. A couple little burnt holes in the furniture. I decided right then and there that she was going to quit smoking that day. Oh, I'm not without skills. So she come down. And I started out by saying, you know what? I'm really worried about your health. I didn't start out with any of that other shit, did I? Oh, baby, I'm worried about your health. It's not good for you to smoke. It's not healthy for you. And then all of a sudden, my mouth disengages from my brain and it takes on a life of its own. And I hear stuff coming out of my mouth that is interesting, and I don't always agree with it, but it's flowing out, right? And I said to her, well, I go to kiss you and your breath smells from that smoke shit, Yeah. Look at the dirty ashtrays. There's holes in the furniture. It's like taking money, rolling it up and lighting it up. And I say my best for last. and you set a lousy example for the kids and the grandkids. She said, fuck you, Bob. I try not to curse, but after George Carlin last night, this is, I'm comparing myself to somebody. That's shame right there. See, he's worse than I was. But I had to use that word to give you an example. Now, I don't know why y'all think that's funny either. Here is where you get my sense of spirituality. I have a program today. I have a sponsor today. I didn't call up my peers, because if I'd have called my peers, they'd have said, well, she's ungrateful. She just doesn't understand how much you really care about her, and they'd have rat packed her right with me. Oh, come on, y'all know you got a little rat pack with you. We all know a little rat pack. But I've been around enough to know that's not the way to do this. I get in my car and I went up to see my sponsor. Now, I told you about him not letting me say anything bad, but I laid this whole thing out. Oh, yeah, she's this. Oh, man, she did this. And then she told me to go something to myself. And he said to me, you know what? You're right. Oh, my God. When your sponsor tells you you're right, it does not get much better than that. Bob, he said, you are right. But you keep that dumb shit up, you're going to be the most rightest, alonest person in Narcotics Anonymous, man. It's not about being right. In our second tradition, it talks about an ultimate authority. My third step, I learned to make commitments and keep commitments. I had to work a long time on that, because you'd say, would you do something? I'd say, yeah, and then you'd never see me. It's kind of like some of the guys who say, will you sponsor me? And you say yes, and they say, I'll call you, and you never hear from them. It's the same kind of concept. But you commit not only to each other, but you commit to this concept of relationship. A higher power, as he expresses himself in our group conscience. And how do we draw God? Oh, I got to talk about just one more principle out of this tradition. But how do we bring God into our relationship? I have found that God is very soft-spoken. I have to be quiet and listen intensely for the voice of God within me. I can't run around screaming, acting crazy, trying to prove my point, trying to put her arguments down so that I can get my way. It's not me bullying her into submission. It's not her bitching me into submission. It's not, a compromise. It's trying to find out what's best for us in this relationship. If my wife would have stood up, you'd see how neat she dresses and how particular. I'm a little sloppy. Look. I'm not trying to change her. She's not trying to change me. But there's times I need to shape up and look good when I'm going out to a job interview or public speaking, and I submit my stuff and I ask her, shape me up, baby, and she does. See, relationships aren't about just trying to convert the other person to your way of thinking or your way of doing stuff. It's value what they have, the gifts that they have to make the relationship stronger. If I have 10 things that I'm good at and she has 10 things that she's great at, then man, we got 20 things in this relationship. Man, she taught me a lot about music and she taught me a lot about art. I taught her how to curse and I taught her how to live with drug addicts. Man, fair's fair. Right? We trade shit off. We share what we got. You know, listening for God's voice and then talking civilly and quietly to each other. Man, Susan and I both had really very productive, fast-paced lives. And I used to have a standing rule. Look, don't call me until after 7:30 in the morning unless you are absolutely bleeding and the blood better be coming through the phone, because that's my time with her. That's the first of my day. That's the best of my day. That's when I'm rested. That's when we can talk better with each other. At the end of the day, if she says to me, hey, do you want to go to the kids and do something like that? No, hell no, I'm too tired, I ain't going. But if she gets me in the morning when I'm fresh, I haven't had all the shit to deal with all day, I have a whole different mindset. So I want to give her the best part of my day. I want her to give me the best part of her day. And so in the mornings, man, we do that over that cup of coffee I talked about. Going up and making the coffee for her and going getting her. Boom. And we sit and we work out the issues of the day and the relationship and where we're going. And we have to make each other special. Man, if a sponsee calls me and they're jammed up, I drop whatever the hell I'm doing and say, come on over, man. Why would I do less than that for my wife? Holy shit. I'm running over here, but there are no requirements other than those that you give them. Any Marines in here? Semper Fi, man. Always faithful. I love that. Always faithful. Semper Fi. We're always faithful to each other. Faithful to each other. I love you to death. But you ain't getting between my wife and I. Whether you're my child, my favorite sponsee. I don't have favorites. Jesus Christ, please. I'm sorry I said that. I'll be called. Oh, my God. Oh, I knew if I kept talking long enough, I'd say something stupid, and I achieved my purpose. So it's pretty. That's a good indication. It's time for me to start to wrap up. But there are boundaries. I love women. My second sponsor used to say, Bob, if God made anything better than a woman, He kept it to Himself. I love him. But you know what? I love to go to Montreal. I think they got the prettiest women. But when I come home, my wife's going to look in my eyes and she's going to know whether I was Semper Fi, always faithful, or whether I wasn't. And see, I don't have a very strong moral compass. I really don't. I mean, I don't think I'm going to go to hell if I screw somebody. I just don't think that. I may be in denial, but I still don't think it. But you can believe this with certainty. I would cut my arm off before I would intentionally hurt that woman. And we have that level of trust and intimacy that if I did that, I could deny it from here to hell, and I would deny it from here to hell. But she would take one look at me and know That's what intimate is. It's not words. It's not words. It's not words. I love my wife. I love everything about her. I love the way she smells, the way she tastes, the way she talks to me, the way she hugs me, the way she tells me I'm handsome. Hey, you can't have her. She's mine. Here's the other thing. My wife is not an addict. You know, as we grow as a fellowship, it used to be all about us. Addicts only stuff. Addicts only retreats. Addicts only closed meetings. Addicts only shit. Man, I'm in a loving relationship. This is my soulmate. If she was a relationship only, no addicts, there wouldn't have been addicts living on our house. Almost the whole time we've been together, we've had addicts live in our house. We've had as many as 20-some people sleeping on our living room floor already. This is a non-addict. Understand? This is a non-addict who loves me, and I am Narcotics Anonymous, so she loves you. I'm going to jump right back to the last one. And I'm sorry if I didn't get through all of them. But anonymity is not a scorecard. It doesn't count rights and wrongs. It doesn't count how many cards you sent me or presents you gave me and how many I sent you. Anonymity is the foundation of all of our spiritual principles. It is our invitation, our opportunity, our right to love each other fearlessly, without judgment. I don't have to judge the quality of your recovery. That's all I have to do is judge the quality of my ability to love you. You know, that addict's still sick out there. That addict's still sick. And you and I have the most loving message, the most powerful message, the most important relationship that suffering addict can ever have. We do recover through God, the 12 steps and 12 traditions in a loving fellowship called Narcotics Anonymous. God bless you. Thanks for letting me share.